wealthy Bugatti owners are having a crisis of confidence. Ever since mechanic and YouTuber Matt Armstrong began publicly documenting his Bugatti rebuilds, some uncomfortable truths have started surfacing, truths that have buyers of $3 and $4 million hypercars asking a question they never expected to ask. Did I actually get what I paid for? To understand why this matters, you first need to understand what Bugatti sells. Because Bugatti doesn't just sell a car. It sells a promise. When you hand over $4 million for a Chiron, you're buying into an ideology. The ideology of absolute exclusivity, of hand-built craftsmanship so refined that only 3 facilities worldwide are certified to service the vehicle, of engineering so advanced, so purpose-built, that the components inside simply don't exist anywhere else, of performance so extreme, top speeds exceeding 250 miles per hour, that entirely new engineering solutions had to be invented just to make it possible. That's the Bugatti pitch. That's what separates it from every other supercar on the market. And that's what justifies a price tag that exceeds what most people will earn in their entire lifetime. For decades, that pitch went largely unchallenged. Bugatti occupied a rarefied space where the buyers were wealthy enough that scrutiny felt unnecessary, and the cars were rare enough that few mechanics ever got close enough to ask hard questions. Then Matt Armstrong bought a crash Chiron. Armstrong wasn't on a mission to expose anyone. He's a mechanic and content creator who specializes in rebuilding exotic and salvage vehicles on YouTube. His goal was straightforward: buy a damaged Bugatti Chiron, document the rebuild, and share the process with his audience. But in the course of doing that work, he started noticing things that didn't quite fit the story Bugatti had been telling. The first major discovery came when Armstrong removed the passenger airbag during the rebuild process. On the back of the unit, he found a part number 8V8804H. Anyone who has spent time working on Volkswagen Group vehicles, Audi, VW, Seat, Skoda, knows that numbering format immediately. It's a Volkswagen Group designation. So Armstrong did what any methodical mechanic would do. He cross-referenced it. The part number matched an Audi A3 passenger airbag exactly. Not approximately. Not in a general sense. The same part number, letter for letter and digit for digit. The same explosive charge classification. The same mounting points. The same electrical connectors. Even the same MQB platform sticker on the back, Volkswagen Group's modular architecture, the same platform underpinning mainstream, affordable cars like the Golf, the A3, and the Seat Leon. Now, it's worth pausing here, because Bugatti is owned by the Volkswagen Group. There's no secret about that. Some parts sharing across a corporate family is normal and expected in the automotive industry. The question isn't whether Bugatti and Volkswagen share a parent company. The question is whether the components inside a $4 million hypercar are the same, identical parts found in a $30,000 family hatchback, and whether Bugatti has been transparent about that. When CEO Mate Rimac was asked, "Are the Bugatti airbags the same as those in an Audi A3?" his response was unambiguous. For sure, it's not the same airbag inside. A definitive denial. No hedging. Armstrong then bought an Audi A3 airbag from a reset company for €120. He brought it to the Chiron. The bolt holes lined up perfectly. The electrical connectors matched without modification. The unit installed without issue. Because it was, by every measurable standard, the same part. That single moment reframes everything. Because if the airbag is a standard Volkswagen Group component, the natural question becomes, what else is? And more importantly, what exactly are Bugatti owners paying for when they're billed for exclusive, proprietary components? Those bills, by the way, are extraordinary. A routine oil change on a Bugatti Chiron costs approximately $25,000. Not because the oil itself is rare, but because the service involves draining and replacing fluids across an enormously complex 16-cylinder engine with multiple systems, and only certified Bugatti technicians are permitted to perform it. That's the same price as a brand new Honda Civic. For an oil change, a replacement engine for a Chiron runs approximately $800,000, nearly $1 million. A set of 4 tires for the older Veyron costs around $42,000. A single headlight unit for the Chiron is priced at roughly $25,000, which means replacing both headlights costs the same as a decent used car. A replacement key fob will cost you around $13,000. These prices have always been justified on the basis of exclusivity and complexity. Proprietary parts, specialized engineering, components that can't be sourced anywhere else and require unique expertise to install. But once you know the airbag in the door is a €120 Audi part, the justification starts to hollow out. The ownership experience raises further questions, and they go beyond parts pricing. Automotive content creator Mark Machen purchased a Bugatti Veyron with a faulty gearbox. The car wouldn't shift out of park. He contacted Bugatti Manchester for a repair quote, a reasonable first step for any owner of a car under a prestigious brand. They told him they'd look into it and call back within a day or two. That call never came. After more than a month of silence, follow-up calls, voicemails, emails, Bugatti eventually responded. Their position was clear: Veyron gearboxes are sealed units. They cannot be repaired at the component level. Regardless of what has actually failed inside, whether it's a bearing, a seal, a single worn component, the entire unit must be replaced. The price for that replacement, between €200,000 and €300,000. Matt Armstrong later acquired a Veyron with the exact same fault. The gearbox wouldn't respond. Based on Bugatti's own policy, the car should have required a €250,000 transmission replacement. Armstrong diagnosed the fault independently. The problem was a blown fuse, a €5 replacement from a hardware store. Someone had previously installed an incorrectly rated fuse that melted rather than blowing cleanly when the circuit overloaded. Swap it for the correct fuse, and the gearbox works perfectly. That's not a minor footnote. That's the difference between a €5 fix and a €300,000 replacement on a fault that Bugatti's official service network couldn't, or wouldn't, diagnose correctly. The pattern continued with the structural repairs. Bugatti has long maintained that chassis damage on their vehicles requires repair at one of their certified specialist facilities. The implication is that the work is simply too complex and too precise for conventional body shops to handle. Armstrong's collaborator, fabricator named Bob, repaired the chassis damage from the crashed Chiron at a standard body shop using conventional TIG welding equipment. The result was, by Armstrong's account, cleaner than the original factory work, in part because Bob reinforced sections of the structure that Bugatti had left hollow. Similarly, radiator components that Bugatti declined to supply separately were sourced and fitted without issue. None of this means Bugatti cars are poorly engineered. They aren't. The Chiron and Veyron represent genuine feats of automotive development. The performance numbers are real. The engineering challenge of making a car stable and manageable at 250+ miles per hour is immense, and Bugatti's engineers solved it. The cars are remarkable machines. But remarkable engineering and honest pricing are two different things. And what Armstrong's documentation raises is a legitimate question about the latter. If the components aren't exclusively proprietary, if they're sourced from the same Volkswagen Group parts bin that supplies mainstream vehicles, then the maintenance pricing deserves scrutiny. If a €5 fuse can resolve a fault that Bugatti's service network quoted at €300,000, the service monopoly deserves scrutiny. If chassis repairs can be performed cleanly at a standard body shop, the narrative of irreplaceable specialist expertise deserves scrutiny. For the buyer of a $4 million car, this matters enormously. Part of what that buyer is purchasing is peace of mind. The confidence that the brand stands behind the product, that the service network is competent, and that the premium paid reflects genuine, verifiable value. Armstrong's work suggests that at least some of that premium reflects something else: controlled access to information and parts, and the assumption that owners will never look closely enough to question it. That assumption is now being tested. The Bugatti faithful will argue, correctly, that the performance, the design, and the overall experience still justify the price for those who can afford it. That a $4 million car was never purely a rational purchase, and the emotional and status value remains intact regardless of what's under the trim panels. There's a reasonable case to be made there. But the case for Bugatti's pricing has always rested on more than emotion. It has rested on the claim of genuine exclusivity, of parts and expertise that exist nowhere else. Matt Armstrong didn't destroy Bugatti. He just held that claim up to the light. And in doing so, he raised a question that every current owner and every future buyer now has to answer for themselves. Is a Bugatti still worth $4 million when you know exactly what you're paying for?